Seriously, Meredith?
Wow.
That's horrible. I told Russ last time I talked to him. Oh, well, so.
All right, we're on. Good evening, everyone. I want to call to order the regular meeting of the Perry Municipal Authority. It is July 2nd, 2000. Roll call, Dixie.
Coldiron.
Here.
Gilbert. Franklin. Hicks.
Here.
Ahern. Seabolt. Here. Morrell. Stroller.
Here.
Johnson.
Here, I do declare a quorum. This evening, Reverend Josh Bell's going to give us our invocations this evening. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Would you pray with me? Almighty Creator, we ask that your blessings on the people who have been called to lead this community in which we live and work and play. Help us as leaders to not ask first, how do we fix this, but what do we need to learn? How might we need to change? And to whom do we need to listen? Remind us all, because we all forget from time to time, especially in the noisiness of what passes for our system, that we are not only leaders but also servants. That it is our responsibilities and ours to serve the common good of all. Remind us that no matter where we live, all of these people are our neighbors, our siblings, and throughout the ages, people have been called the leaders of the people to respect and protect the least of those among us. Our children, the elderly, the poor, those who are hungry, those who have no homes, those who are ill in body, mind, or spirit, the strangers in our midst, those who live on the margins, those who are alone, those who are forgotten. Grant us as leaders and, O Lord, the wisdom and courage to know and do what is right and good and true. May we speak out when it is time to speak out, listen patiently and receptively when it is time to listen. May we always be ignited by the spirit of community, by the spirit of justice, and by the spirit of love. This we pray in the name of all that we hold sacred and holy, all that we hold good and right and true. May it be so. Amen.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
We'll go to item 1, consent agenda. Just one item on there, item A. Receive and approve the minutes of the regular PMA meeting June 18, 2018.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, Dixie.
Coldiron.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Seabolt. Yes. Stroller.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. We'll move to item 4, which is comment from those assembled concerning the PMA. Anyone? Thank you. We'll move on to item 5, proclamations, commendations, reports, and inquiries by the governing body. Staff, council. Seeing none, we'll move on to item 6, new business. Any new business? Seeing none, item 7.
Motion adjourned. Second.
Motion second. Roll call, Dixie.
Coldiron.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Seabolt. Yes. Stroller.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. Thank you. I now call to order the regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Perry. It is July 2nd, 2018. Roll call, Dixie.
I'm getting there. Coldiron.
Here.
Gilbert. Franklin. Hicks.
Yes.
Ahern. Seabolt. Here. Morrell. Stroller.
Here.
Johnson.
Here. First item on the consent agenda, item A through D. I need a motion to approve as presented, or we can remove any item you need to discuss further.
Motion approved.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Coldiron.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Seabolt. Yes. Stroller.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. Item 4, comments from those assembled for the council meeting this evening. Any comments? Seeing none, proclamation, commendation, reports, and inquiries, not requiries, inquiries by the governing body. I was trying to make a new word. Did you have something you want to say? Item 6,
Tonight.
city manager's report. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to say that the small drainage project that's at Sixth and Locust Seventh and Locust, I'm sorry, is well underway. It's about finished. We made some good progress in the last 2.5 days or from last week. Also, Seth Wadley has started moving trucks and cars into the lot, so we're excited about that. Should be open here, probably doing service anyway in about 3 weeks, and between now and then they'll have a soft opening, so we're excited about that. So that's, unless you have any other questions from the city manager messenger, then, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. We'll move on to item 7. Receive recommendations from Perry Planning Commission on the application for site plan review with application for sign permit by Blue Badger Investments of Perry LLC, the applicant, at 519 Delaware, Perry, Oklahoma, 73077, with a legal description of lots 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, and 40 of Block 13, the original town site of Perry. That is the project site, including application of section 12.510 of the Perry Municipal Code of 2018 and the request for a special exception to the sign ordinance pertaining to height, Consider approval of site plan review and exception for the site permit application.
Mr. Mayor, I did want to point out something that's really just a matter of point of interest, and that is that I did review the charter, and the charter does provide that 5 members of the council should constitute a quorum, and the affirmative vote of at least 5 members shall be necessary to adopt any motion, resolution, or ordinance, or to pass any measure. I'd originally thought that was just ordinances or resolutions, so I checked, And it's really anything, so if we don't get 5 votes, this isn't pertaining to this, it's pertaining to the rest of the agenda. And this, if we don't get 5 votes, it doesn't pass, okay?
I do want you to point out in the back of section 7 that the application, and quite frankly, I went through the drawings and calculations on this because I used to do these types of drawings for my son's sign company down in Oklahoma City. And my review, and then I had a friend of mine back check me, the design they have will hold up to what we call 40 pounds per square foot of surface, which is over 100-mile-an-hour wind. And I believe that all sections of this thing are adequate. When you put these things up, you don't just worry about the base. You got to worry about every connection point and it being vibrating or coming loose. And so that's where your failures will start, is at those connection points. Any one of them's weak and bring the sign down. So that's the reason I was so interested in this as an engineer and a citizen of Perry, that this tall sign would be shown to be on their site plan. But from my review of this, which is not going to be with my seal on it or anything like that, but my review of the numbers here, that it is adequate for what they have described as use.
Do we have a recommendation from the planning?
Yes, prior to this meeting at 5 o'clock, they met, unanimously passed this with the sign ordinance and the exception.
So am I reading this right? It's 90 foot tall?
Yeah,
90 feet, 7 inches.
to the very tip top.
Okay.
The Brahms sign closest to the south of the southwest corner of their property is 80 feet. So this is a little bit higher than that. But also 2 things I'd like to mention. One, it is temporary. Secondly, when they open out on the other side of 35 within 24 months, that will be moved.
Well, I realize that. But I was just thinking, it appears to me that it is 81 feet from the sign to Exchange Bank property. Is that correct?
Yes, it is close.
I mean, if it was to fall south, it would probably across the street,
It hit the Vance building.
hit the Vance building.
Yes, sir.
But it's more likely to fall east or west,
Reach the back.
in my mind.
It's 100 and,
Hundred
it said
and-
160.
Yeah, it'd be the-
It would not reach the Vance building, would be
Huh?
close.
Yeah, it'd be on the property, but it wouldn't.
Well,
Across the
it's
street.
it's only a short period of time. I'm not saying I'm against it. I just was thinking if it was to fall, it would fall onto the exchange bank property. It could possibly.
If we approve this, does that make it automatically approved for when it's moved?
No, no, it has to be subject to a site
A
plan.
new site plan.
A new site plan then, and look at it then. Because the only property that was mentioned in the site plan notice is this property.
Come to the podium, ma'am, and introduce yourself.
Betty Warner. I can't for the life of me think that you all would put a 90-foot sign out there. It's gonna be taller than our courthouse. We might as well change our name of our town to whatever they're gonna put on there, Ford or whatever. We've got sign ordinances to prevent this kind of thing. I don't know. It's just crazy to me to put a 90-foot sign out there, even if it's temporary, or even on the highway. I mean, why do you need a 90-foot sign? And if you put a 90-foot sign out there, why can't I have a 90-foot sign? Why can't everybody have a 90-foot? Exchange Bank could get a 90-foot sign. I think you're opening up the door to a can of worms.
Well, you can, you just have to be able to afford one. And
That's what I'm
follow
saying.
and follow this procedure. I mean, I have no idea how much the sign will cost, but I imagine it's tens of
Probably.
tens of thousands of dollars, you know? And just to do the engineering, right, Mayor? I mean, wouldn't it be?
It's expensive, yeah,
You know,
very.
but anybody can, and
I know.
that's.
And do you
if-
really
if-
want signs like
If you
that
go
all
through
over
the
town?
process.
I don't know. That's just all I had a comment, that's all.
Thank you, Betty.
The current limitation is 70 feet, correct?
That's what I was originally told. There was a question about whether or not it was less than that.
So we don't know what it was?
I haven't done a re-review of the deal. I was told, after initially told it was 70 feet, that it's actually 40 feet by the building official.
How did Brahms get their 80-foot one?
Yeah, I don't recall that coming before us.
Yeah, it went to planning commission and then came to this body, yes, sir.
Well, the ordinance did to provide for this. I mean, now we
Yeah,
have
the
the,
ordinance.
Pardon?
But how did Brahms get their
Brahms went
80-foot?
it's in a
Board of
different,
Adjustments, okay.
yeah, and it's in a different location. Yeah, I mean, there's a procedure to exempt, you know, it all has to do with how is it affixed to the ground? Will it take shears? I mean, we have water towers that are, you know, taller than that, and they, of course, can pick up and blow away. So it's how is it affixed to the ground? And then, of course, you know, there's metal roofs on tall, you know, Microtel, is that not a metal roof? I thought it was. You know, it's 5 stories tall, and, you know, you're
We had to
looking.
do an exhibit for it, too, for its height.
Yeah, for its height.
Yeah, we
You're,
got-
you're wanting to make sure that it's, you know, that it's secure because, you know, other than aesthetics, how it looks, you know, Betty's objection. You know, which is one thing. I mean, some communities don't care about that at all. I mean, what they care about is the safety factor. And so this passes, one of the things it has to do is it can't violate the international building code. I mean, it has to be consistent with the code. It has to be constructed correctly. We're not going to exempt the safety issues with respect to it, and the foundation has to be put in place. But this is what this is what they've requested, and they of course have brought a lot of money and people and you know, to bear. And what they're wanting is they're wanting folks to see where they are, you know, just like Brahms did. And we, of course, have provided the notice that is required under a, under a site plan review. And of course, there's no notice required under the sign permit, but there is notice required under the ordinance that we passed. And so it's the site plan review notice together with, you know, what are you planning to view? And it's clear, it's 90 feet and 7 inches. So, you know, we've complied with all of our procedure.
And refresh my memory, does this go to the neighbors within so many feet?
No,
I
site
can't remember.
site plans never do.
Okay.
You know, I mean, use by reviews do, home occupations do, zoning does. And one of the things about this was, of course, what Larry had said, and that is that it's part of the ordinance, it's a temporary, it's a temporary sign and not a permanent one. And that, of course, is part of your procedure.
Well, I understand why they want to put the tall sign up. The main reason being because they want one that big on I-35.
Yeah, they don't want to build
They don't
two.
want to build two of them. I get it. And kind of
Yeah.
where that thing sits on I-35, they're going to need some visibility.
Yeah, it's gonna be 10 feet, 10 feet, 7 inches shorter than the Brahms sign. Have we received any?
It's not going to be shorter, it's going to be taller.
Yeah, taller, I'm sorry, than the Brahms sign. Have we received any complaints about the Brahms sign that we know of? I mean, I haven't heard any. At City Hall? Of course, they sell Brahms there, you know. Milk and ice creams.
What's your pleasure, council?
Huh?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, Dixie.
Kohler.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Seagull. Yes. Stroller.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
I was counting to 5.
Next item. Thank you, council. Thank you, Betty. Consider approval of payment of an invoice in the amount of $12,988 to MKEC Engineering for engineering services on 2018, 2019 street improvements. That is Jackson, 12th to 9th Streets.
Motion approved.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, Dixie.
Kohler.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yeah.
Seagull.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. Item 9, consider approval of payment of an invoice in the amount of $4,698.93 to MKEC Engineering for engineering services on general engineering services. This was, as noted here, for the drainage on 7th Street and some plans for the alley by the pharmacy. When are we going to get that started?
Actually, there was a contractor for AT&T out looking at it today, and also One Gas was also out there. So we're making headway.
Good, good.
The goal is to be open, obviously, by the time and have this all fixed and paid by the time Wadley gets in.
I sent, with respect to One Gas, which is the real problem, I told them our story, which is that we've been waiting for a long time, and this has been delayed a couple times. And I sent it off to the general counsel of One Gas and to Marty, who's the one that spoke to us about the franchise. And I think that they have moved it up, or making sure that it's moving. If not, I will tell you that Steve Frank is preparing a memo that I asked him to do, which is the history of this, and I'm going to fire that off to them because
It's taking too long.
it's
Yeah.
taking too long.
It's supposed to be done
Yes.
by the end of March, then they moved it to the end of May, and now we're even later than that, so. Bryce, thank you for that.
Yeah.
That note, Marty, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Need a motion? Second? Round nine.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, Dixie.
Calderon.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Seabolt.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. Move on to item 10, consider approval of payment, application number 2 in the amount of $170,751.71 to Evans and Associates Construction Company Incorporated for work performed on the 2018 street improvements, including East Boundary, 12th and Birch, Grove Street, and Jackson Street. Any questions?
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, Dixie.
Calderon.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Seabolt.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. Consider exercising of an option to extend the lease agreement on July 1, 2018 to July 30th, 2019, the monopole highway display bulletin sign with 89er services. Is this the sign we picked,
Yes, sir.
the vinyl sign?
Right. So north of exit 186, and I have yet to get a call from anyone that says, hey, I saw your sign.
Do we have to make a motion if we don't continue?
You want to continue?
If we do not want to exercise the extension?
Yeah, I would say that we
Yes.
would that we would do that. I mean, is it, it says that we may, if we fail to timely exercise, then they immediately send notice of that failure. We have 10 additional days. If you don't want to do it, just say that you don't want to do it, and we'll tell them.
Yeah.
I talked to Earlene Cockrum on the way up here tonight, and she said she completely understands.
Okay.
Would have loved to have some response, they call.
Well, it's hard for me to justify to continue to pay for that sign in our situation, when we haven't had one phone call. And I kind of expressed to her maybe direct someone else towards that sign.
Motion to non-renew.
Thank you.
What was your motion?
Non-renew.
Second.
Roll call, Dixie.
Calderon.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Seabolt. Yes. Stroller.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. Thank you for everybody. Item 12, consider award of the bid to authorize the mayor to execute a contract for the repair of the clear well at the water production plant. The accused on our back about this one, are they not?
It was one of the significant findings, I think it was 30 days from the final report, which was middle of May. So we're a little over that, but we've told them that we were working on it. We wanted to go first, see the budget was passed, and secondly, be able to get some quotes in, which you see in front of you.
And this is one of the things that was in the budget?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to put it in my standard public construction contract. I was gone for the last 5 days, and so I didn't exactly know how this turned out. If you could go ahead and authorize it with approval of the contract, I'll have everything covered. It's just that my form is the one that you want to approve it with, or since we have a limited amount of days.
Okay.
And you need to remind me tomorrow.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, Dixie.
Calderon.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Seabolt. Yes. Stroller.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. Item 13, accept quick claim deed from Grand Lodge of Oklahoma Independent Order of Odd Fellows and Church on the Square, Perry Corporation, for an additional 6 feet of property to the immediately north of the Wrestling Memorial, and authorize the city attorney to commence with action to commence notice of a hearing to commence an alley portion and to close, if closed, to commence with petition to district court to vacate such real property. The Wrestling Memorial Foundation needs 6 more feet in the alley to complete what they're doing. And they've asked, and everyone is granted.
So what we need to do if this passes, which is something else I need to do, put out a notice, schedule a hearing, date 30 days from now, and then you guys would decide whether you want that alley closed, and then take that up and get that vacated so we can have title transferred by the court to us. The abutting property owners have already agreed to transfer their interest to us. So approval of the side would do all of that. Get the would accept the deeds, get the administrative process rolling, and if that passes, then authorize me to take an action in district court to get title. And I already have all the forms, because we did it before, so it's gonna be real simple.
I forget how far back that goes now. This isn't
It
back.
goes 60 feet.
Okay, so it still won't be to the back of Ahern
No,
building.
it's 66 feet. They asked for additional, and that was where, it was really the Odd Fellows, that, they were nice enough to, they gave us their lot for free, plus their interest in the alley. But they said, 6 more feet is what they're willing to do. I guess they had some other kind of use for it or something, so.
So the recommendation is as written here. Have a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion? If you're confused, ask, tell, whatever.
Bryce, what was the original request of the wrestling folks? How far did they want to go?
Well, they would have liked to have gone, they would have liked to have taken all of it. The museum folks would have, but, the thought was, we have never, we have done one eminent domain case. And we did it out to get our property on the right of way for the road. But really, the city hasn't been big on exercising the power of eminent domain with respect to private property.
Well, the Oddfellows have about 3 parking spaces down there they want to maintain. That's mainly their reason for not giving it.
Yeah.
So the wrestling for 6 more feet. We have a motion and a second. Roll call, Dixie.
Colner.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
I like that.
Seabolt. Yes. Stroller.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. Okay, item 14. Review job description of city manager and discuss process for performance review. Take such action as necessary. Did everybody end up with a copy of what we reviewed? And it should be in the background.
Larry, I'm sure you've seen these before in different places. What is your general opinion of this one? Is it
It's probably my favorite. It's very inclusive, and I like that.
good? I accuse Bryce of him he and 300, the lawyer's writing it. It's so inclusive.
I don't think the lawyer wrote this because it's like 40 pages too short.
Okay. Well, I would move that we adopt this, with a couple of little changes. Bryce, I want you to review the very last paragraph about what the city management has reviewed this. That description here is not appropriate to this document. It is appropriate to the rest of the job descriptions.
Okay.
So you review that.
Yeah, I actually didn't read that, to tell you the truth. It looked like verbatim. I just reviewed the you know, the job description didn't look at that last paragraph.
And that we prepare to do an evaluation at our planning session. And I'm gonna reach out, Shelley, would you mind chairing that review?
Sure.
Okay, that's all included in my motion.
And so do you want to delete that last paragraph? I mean, is it your opinion it ought to be deleted? Is it?
About half of it, believe it stays, but half of it goes. So you,
Well, let's take the time to look.
Just
if we
look it
could.
over.
Yeah, let's look it over. Let's see, 14.
when it starts, additional functions and requirements may be assigned by supervisors.
City management is reviewed as to ensure, yeah, that's,
That's probably standard. That's all.
yeah. Yeah. Well, certainly additional functions may be assigned by, that could be the city the city council.
I would strike it, starting with the word additional functions, from the standpoint that your city manager is operating under it. And then suddenly midstream, someone comes along and changes it. No, it needs to go to the end of this present.
I don't think that's the
Conference.
intent.
Yeah, that's not the way I read it.
That's not the intent in those clauses.
I read it, we may give him additional assignments
Yeah.
now, not throughout, say, the year, or
Okay.
additional functions.
Yeah, and the first thing, I would say the city council and the city manager and city management has reviewed this job description to ensure, actually, you know, it would probably be the city manager, city attorney, and city council, yeah. And then the other ones, supervisors coming out and city council going in. I would think that would read right.
That's my motion.
And I didn't read it, and I apologize, it was under that, and I just didn't look at it. That's much better.
Further discussion?
Second.
Got a second. Roll call, Dixie.
Bernard.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Seabolt. Yes. Stroller.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. We'll move on to item 15.
Painless is what you said. Painless.
Item 15, approve reimbursement of $21,731.24 to Stillwater Medical Center Authority for chiller repairs agreed to be paid for prior to the effectiveness of the hospital sublease, with monies that to be paid from the $350,000 set aside used to purchase certain PMH real properties.
Apparently, before we entered into the agreement with Stillwater, there were issues with the chiller, and the hospital had agreed that those were at our cost, at the hospital authority's cost. And of course, we put up that money for this very purpose, and Stillwater was fairly adamant that it was, and then Kyle Gole identified a letter that went to them that made that representation. So we need to live up to our public trust commitments with respect to this lease. Now, we did get back, the email thread was in there, we did get back an email from their hospital administrator that said that, because I asked, is this it? Or are there other ones that were agreed to prior and received it? No, this was it. So from here on out, it will be subject to that agreement, and you all got a copy of that agreement, how that works.
Move approval.
Second.
Goldar.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Seabolt.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. Item 16, consider approval of change order number 1 in amount of $2,522.91 to Evans Associates Construction Incorporated for overrun on installed quantities to date on the 2018 street improvement project.
Motion approved.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call.
Goldar.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Seabolt. Yes. Stroller.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. Item 17, discuss possible topics for the upcoming strategic planning session.
Mayor, I have a sheet I want to pass out to everybody. Topics that I feel we can include in our discussions.
Thank you.
I would like for the council to review it. If I have anything I want to add to it, contact me, or contact Dixie, she's preparing the agenda. And be prepared to discuss these and anything else that they think of.
Well, I've just got it. Does it include talking about this?
That would be, yes, it would be wise if all of you bring your budget and the legal size paper that we were given on the capital outlays, so that we have something to work from. Did everyone get one?
Most of these concerned topics we've discussed in recent years just amongst ourselves at times and not brought to a formal meeting of the council or anywhere else. And I think it's a great, thank you, Earl.
We don't need to beat this horse to death tonight, we'll do that Saturday or
Yeah.
Thursday.
Yeah. I did want to discuss at this time a topic, and maybe not in the weeds, but I think it's time we did discuss and maybe get in the weeds on storm sewer issues around the city that I've known people have called in about numerous times, and we've just not been able to address them. And there are some locations that are chronic, and I think we need to discuss them and see what we can do.
What is our fee
Uh,
for our drainage?
$3.
$3.
Yeah, that is on the low side. Would you agree, Mary? I mean, it is on the low side. It's where many cities start. I think O'Keene started with $1. That was actually the lowest that I've ever seen. But $3 was, is where a lot of folks start. They also require a fee in lieu of contributions in development. Many cities do with development plans. I mean, you're either putting in your own system, or you're paying something. It's good that out at the Seth Watley that we've already built that. That's already
Yeah.
built. That's already built out there as a part of that road project. But there's other ways to get at that. If you remember how we did it, we pretty much just assigned everybody the fee without making it with respect to how much water were they putting off, which is normally done by a calculation of asphalt and roof structure on the property, which, can cost a lot of money coming up with that, so we did make it fairly simple. But anytime you look at that, you have to look at the funds, that you could allocate to put towards that. And, we're always limited by those. We spent a lot of them on this project down,
Yes.
by the pool, 15th Street.
15. That's just an area that's not covered on here, and I think we need to look
You do have the master sewer project here, Earl? The master sewer project, did you list that?
No.
It should really be all of those, certainly all of the projects that we have engineering plans for, or that we have committed to do engineering plans for. So we'll do,
Phase 3 and 4.
yeah. I mean, we ought to have all that on,
at. Sanitary sewer 3 and 4.
yeah. Good list.
Any further discussion or items?
If you have thoughts after this meeting that something needs to be included, get it to Dixie.
Yeah, we'll get, I have some really specific locations that I'll get to her that I'm talking about, that people have issues every year.
I've always said Perry has no flooding problems until we build them.
Yes, that's true. And we have. Any further discussion on item 17, sorry, 17? Move on to 18, new business. Any new business, council? Seeing none, we'll move on to item 19, consider convening an executive session to discuss negotiations with the Fraternal Order of Police Lodge 137 and the Perry Professional Firefighters Lodge 4242 pursuant to 25 OS 307B2.
Motion to convene an executive session.
Thanks,
Second.
Thank you, Shelley. Roll call, Dixie.
Goldar.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Seabold. Yes. Stroller.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. I need a motion to reconvene in regular session, please.
So move.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, Dixon.
Calderon,
Yes.
Hicks,
Yes.
Seabolt. Yes. Stroller,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. Item 21, take any action deemed necessary due to such executive session, including but not limited to. Item A,
Item A, a motion to approve pending, is it signature on the police?
On the fire.
Okay.
The fire.
Approval of item A.
move to approve item A. Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have a second? Roll call.
Calderon,
Yes.
Hicks,
Yes.
Seabolt. Yes. Stroller,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. Item B,
Motion to approve pending signature from the firefighters.
thank you.
Second.
Do I have a second? Roll call.
Calderon,
Yes.
Hicks,
Yes.
Seabolt. Yes. Stroller,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. Item 22,
Motion adjourned.
Second.
roll call, please.
Calderon,
Yes.
Hicks,
No.
Seabolt.
Wait a second, Earl.
We can't, oh, we have to have five. You better say
You better
yes.
say yes. You're gonna get beat.
No objections.
We're gonna call Andy back.
Seabolt. Yes. Stroller,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yeah.